We're going to talk about free motion quilting, some products and things that are very helpful when you're free motion quilting. First thing I'm going to do is talk about some books. And books are always interesting in no matter what subject you're looking at. Quilting books come in a variety of different themes: beginners, intermediates, advanced, individual subject, all over, cover all your topics. They're all different. So when you're looking at books, you need to be sure that it's the type of book that is what you want it to be. It sounds kind of funny, but people will come in. We've got all kinds of free motion quilting books. It's like, which one do I take? You need to take a minute and look at the book and determine what its purpose is. For instance, this one is pretty obvious. Free Motion Quilting 101. That is truly a beginner book. Doesn't mean it's not good for an advanced quilter, because it's got different ideas. And a lot of times there are tips and tricks that when you learn to free motion quilt, either things have changed or you learned from a teacher who taught a different method. So a 101 book is a great place to start. They cover the topic start to finish. Everything from how you thread your machine, what type of needle you use, what type of thread, and then they get into designs. So a little bit of everything, a great place to start. This is one of my favorites, Free Motion Quilting 101. The next type of book is kind of intermediate. It doesn't call out specifically beginner or advanced, which means it's going to have some of everything. This Stitching Pathways book, it says Successful Quilting on Your Home Machine. And on the back, she shows you kind of her format of how she does her designs. She gives you arrows and draws in multicolor so you can see very easily what she wants you to do. And this book is primarily about the designs and stitching. When you look at the first few pages, she does give you a short introduction to threads and needles, but then jumps right into all the designs and different ways to do it. So different than this book, where she's probably got 15 or 20 pages on getting started. So you need to pick the book that fits with what you want to do. This one is really a fun one. If you are a free motion quilter and struggle with how do I quilt, how do I pick a quilt design? This one is called the Machine Quilting Idea Book. And it is designed that each design in the book is made to go on, well, a little hard to see there, to go on, sorry, I'm trying to get a good view, that's a little bit better. Each design is made to go over a specific type of block. So there are designs in here to go over a monkey wrench block, a log cabin block, a 9-patch. And this is designed that as if you have, say, a sampler quilt and you want a different design over each type of block, this is a great place to go. It also works, it's all over square quilted blocks. So you can kind of look at the motion that she's using in different areas. So even if you have a different type of block, if it has half square triangles or flying geese, look at her designs that were drawn to go over that type of block, and you can probably transition it to work well with your type of block. So this is a little bit more not how to free motion quilt, but what to free motion quilt. And then the last one here is just really fun. 180 more doodle quilting designs. She is actually doing different doodles, she calls them. If you look at the cover of the book, you can see they're all different things, from a spider web to little hearts, all different types of designs. And the whole book is showing you how to doodle those in a square, a triangle, and a rectangle. Rectangles, remember, are typically for borders. So it's just fun designs that you can practice and do your own thing. So the type of book you choose should tie into the type of free motion quilting you want to do. That goes for all books. If you're doing a paper pieced project, there are beginner books, intermediate books, and a little bit more free form. Same with just piecing. You go from very simple piecing of a 9-patch to a very complex piecing of maybe a mariner's compass or a carpenter's star block. So look at the books, make decisions on what you like. These are some of our favorites that we think you might enjoy as you're going along doing your free motion quilting. Another point on free motion quilting is it's hard to decide what to quilt, and it's hard to decide what to practice on. Panels make perfect practice. And I will tell you, we always have a section by our register where we have on sale panels for $4.99. So it is a great place to grab a panel. You might say, I'm never going to make a quilt out of this butterfly block, but boy, it would make great hot pads, or they'd be a wonderful design in a throw pillow. Or for $5, it's a pretty good place just to practice your free motion quilting. So when you look at a block like this, I could use the book that was Machine Quilting in a Block, and I could practice a different one right over that block. So it's a nice type of panel for practicing quilting on blocks. A panel like this is an all-over project. And it's got blocks, but they're a lot bigger. And you've got a lot of background space. If you look behind this bunny rabbit right here, there's a lot of background that I might want to free motion fill. So this type of panel gets me very different practice than the butterfly panel did. So if you've got old panels in your stash, or you're wanting to practice your quilting, whether it's straight line or free motion, panels are a great place to do that. And it's nice when you can pick them up on sale as well. The last thing I'm going to talk about is a couple products that just help, tools that help with the process. This is just a fat quarter with some batting on the back. I'm going to set that aside for a minute. This is our new little pattern for our little zippy briefcase. Has a little handle on it. We designed this kind of as a grab and go. If I'm going to quilt class, my 6 by 12 inch ruler fits in here. I could put my mini iron in here and my pressing tools. If it's a kid's bag, little, I wanted to say robot, astronaut fabric, great for a child as a grab, take it to grandma's house, going to church, going to be in the car for a while, Barbie dolls, whatever you've got to play with. The kids can grab this bag and be ready to go at any time. Why does this bag fit into the quilting section? Because this one, I did not quilt. It was my sample on how I'm going to make this, what we're going to use for the panel. I would normally quilt this space. And so it's a great project to practice because it's the size of a fat quarter. The fat quarter is just wrapped around to make the bag. So I can practice my free motion quilting on a small space. It's for a kid's bag or a tote bag. It's not, oh my gosh, I'm going to ruin this beautiful quilt top I just made. It's a fat quarter and a quick little project. So this pattern you'll see on the website and in the shop. And then I'm going to talk about the tools just using this as a sample. Again, I have a fat quarter on top and I have fusible fleece on the back. And this one for this project, the back is added later. So I can quilt this without the back. If I was making a hot pad, I'd put the back right on it and I'd quilt through all 3 layers. Either way is fine. When I quilt, I'm going to pick my thread and my design. We talked about bobbin thread in an earlier video. Bobbin thread works great, gives you a really fine stitch. Remember that if you don't want to see your stitches, you're using a coordinating thread. If you want to see your stitches, contrasting thread. We have a number of quilting videos on the playground, play.sewingbasket.biz. We have video on layering your quilt, using your walking feet, threads, picking different types of threads, all different things that are available for you. I'm going to mention wash away thread here as we talk about quilting. Wash away thread. It actually does wash away. If you read the instructions, it tells you not to sew a bathing suit with wash away thread. It will fall apart. Why would you ever use that in quilting? I use it when I have a section of a quilt and I'm not quite sure what I want to quilt on it, and I'm afraid I'm going to ruin it if I don't pick the right design or the right thread color. I can quilt it in wash away thread, practice, see how I like it. If I like the design, I put regular thread in my machine. I can go right over it. So I already have a guideline there. I can go right over it. When I'm done, I spritz it with water. The wash away thread goes away, and I'm left with just my regular quilting stitch. So it's a great way to test a design. And that design, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. If you do it and you don't like it, spritz the fabric with water now, the wash away thread goes away, and I've got a clean canvas. I just use my iron to dry it off, and I've got a clean canvas to start again. If you are doing it a second time with wash away thread, be sure that that fabric is completely dry, or your thread will wash away when it hits the damp fabric. So wash away thread is fun for that. Another option, invisible. Invisible thread comes both in clear and in smoke. You use smoke when you're doing a dark fabric, clear when you're doing a light fabric, and that gives you a chance to do some free motion quilting and really not see the stitches themselves. So it's an easy way to kind of hide your quilting as you are a beginner and it's not turning out, your stitches aren't perfectly even. Mine never will be. That's why I love quilting on my embroidery machine. But that practice using a clear or invisible, we've got full video on that as well. 2 tips on that. Be sure that when you wind your bobbin, you wind it at half speed. If you wind it too fast, that thread can stretch and get caught on itself, and your bobbin tension will be affected and you'll have all kinds of trouble. So wind your bobbin at medium speed and only fill it halfway. Those 2 tips, and a thread net on the top if you're having trouble to keep the thread from unwinding. Those will take care of any issues you have. And quilting with invisible thread is easy to do. No reason you can't. If you hear something funky, get used to the sound of your machine. If something sounds funny, stop right away. Because if you do get a thread tangle underneath or a problem, invisible thread is invisible. So it's really hard to see. It's kind of a hassle for the techs to have to clean it out. That's why a lot of them will tell you, oh no, you can't quilt with invisible thread. Well, yes, you can. Just do it carefully. Half full bobbin, wound at medium speed, a thread net, stop if you have a problem. So invisible and wash away are fun for those types of projects. And this is called a free motion hoop. The free motion hoop is a way to grip the fabric. When I'm quilting and I'm moving things around, my hands tend to slip. So I will use one of 2 things. I'll either use the quilting gloves, which I talked about in the last video. Quilting gloves are just rubber tipped. Oh, thank you, Assistant Kay, as she hands me the rubber tipped gloves. The gloves have rubber tips on them, so I can hold the fabric and it won't slip in my hand. So I'll get a much smoother flow to my quilting if I use the gloves. The second thing is a tool called the Free Motion Hoop, or Free Motion Grip. This is a product by Brother, and I really like it. I wasn't sure at first how I'd feel about it. It has rubber, 3 little rubber grids across here, and little handles. And so if my needle is here, I put this down, and this moves my project. When I stitch to the end, I move here and keep stitching. So it allows me to move around my project. The difference between the gloves or a flat surface and this is when I'm flat, it's like I'm trying to draw or write my name with my hand flat. It's much harder to do than if you have a grip that almost is like a pencil. And that's what this does. It holds your hand in this angle, and it almost feels like you're drawing with a pencil. So if I'm writing my name, it's much easier to do this way because I've got that muscle memory than if my hands are flat. So the free motion grip is one of my favorite tools for free motion. It's a great way to practice and get comfortable moving with free motion quilting. So those are some of our favorite things. Again, you'll see this pattern coming up. It doesn't have a name yet. So if you have a good name, you can give us an idea. But you'll see this coming up and will be available for sale along with other products as of November 1st. That is it for today. Thank you.